In the heart of the galaxy, lights glowed like distant stars inside the Grand Galactic Council Chamber. Hundreds of alien species sat in their polished seats, watching a large screen above the council floor. The room was tense for a moment. The recording began to play. A human voice, distorted with age, echoed across the chamber. "This is Earth. One final warning. Do not approach our system. Do not mine our worlds. You've been warned." Silence then. Laughter. Loud, echoing, mocking laughter from the council members. The speaker of the YZARN Empire, a tall insectoid figure with glowing eyes, leaned forward. "How dramatic," he said, smirking. "Do they think we fear myths?" Another delegate chuckled. "Earth, that forgotten rock. Their kind vanished centuries ago. All that's left is dust." The speaker raised his hand and the laughter faded. "The Jazern Empire will begin. Peaceful mining operations in the Sol system. Mars has untouched resources. We will not waste the chance." The vote passed without resistance. One by one, the delegates approved. No one argued. Earth was dead. The message was just an old program still running. Hours later, in a deep space, "Hangar, massive mining vessels powered up," engines roared. Bright lights lit the giant hulls. The Jazern fleet, 12 mining ships, and 6 armed escorts prepared to enter Sol. High above them, beyond even their sensors, a small human satellite drifted silently. It had been off for 6 centuries, until now, as the Jazern fleet jumped to warp, the satellite's systems flickered. Its ancient code stirred. A red light blinked once, then held steady. Captain Sherloth of the mining vessel Prospect Dawn stared out the bridge window. Mars was large in the distance, its red surface quiet and still. No resistance, no response. "All signals are clear. Earth has not answered anything." Sherloth nodded. "We will set up on the northern crater." Fields, his second in command, a younger Jazarn named Drenkor, leaned closer. "Sir, do you believe the warning? The humans?" "They were dangerous once," Sherloth laughed lightly. "That was thousands of years ago. Even back then, they needed machines to survive. We are far beyond them now." Drenkor said nothing more, but unease lingered in his eyes. Back on Earth, in the deep waters of the Pacific Ocean, the ocean floor trembled slightly. Hidden beneath, layers of crust and forgotten metal, something stirred, buried kilometers below. A single giant eye flickered open in the darkness. It scanned old systems. Long dormant wires hummed, pressure shifted. Old codes, written in the final years of humanity's rule, began to run. *** status check, Earth Core Protocol online warning violation detected. Galactic Trespass Protocol Titan. Initializing *** Drenkor reviewed scan data from orbit. Captain, we have strange readings from Earth. Weak energy signals are pulsing under the ocean, like old tech reactivating. Sherloth waved a claw dismissively. Background noise. Earth is full of junk. Don't waste time. But Drenkor zoomed in on one satellite image. His breath caught. There, on a tiny island in the Pacific, stood a statue, a giant humanoid figure, cracked and worn. Harmless at first glance until he noticed something chilling. The statue, Drenkor whispered, wasn't there to hours ago. He called the bridge team over. They compared old orbital maps. That structure had not existed in any prior scans. And worse, it had moved slightly. Sherloth frowned now. "Send a drone, get visual confirmation." The drone dropped silently into Earth's atmosphere, passing through clouds and stormy air. It reached the coordinates and sent back high resolution images. At first, the island was calm. Waves lapped at the shore. Birds flew overhead. Then the drone panned right. The statue's head had turned, the feed cut out, static back in the fleet. The crew stared at the frozen frames just before signal. Loss. The massive humanoid figure, towering above the trees, now looked directly at the drone. Its eyes, dim red before, glowed brighter. Sherloth clenched his jaw. "Do we have weapon signatures?" "No, Captain. No weapons activated, just movement." "Then it's a trick. A defense system meant to scare us." We continue, far below. Beneath the Earth's surface, cables wrapped around bone and steel. Titan's chest opened slightly. Inside, old nuclear cores came online. Cold fusion banks awakened. Artificial muscles, large as skyscrapers, flexed for the first time in 600 years. A voice echoed inside its massive head. AI Athena online. Protocol Titan is active. Earth's warning has been ignored. The Titan didn't speak. It just waited. A day later, the Jazarn miners began drilling on Mars. Large extractors roared. They celebrated the first load of minerals. Ships filled with cargo began rising to orbit. Then came the tremor. Not on Mars, on Earth. Every seismograph in the system exploded with data. The quake didn't come from tectonic movement. It came from one location in the Pacific. A tremor so large, it caused waves on nearby moons. Titan had moved. On board the Prospect Dawn, Drencor ran into the control room. "Sir, Earth just activated a satellite. It's broadcasting." Sherlath spun to the screen. A voice, cold and clear, rang across all frequencies to all galactic vessels. "Earth's final protocol is live. Leave the system immediately. Last warning." A second later, the message repeated across every channel in every language. Sherlath shouted, "Shut it off. Jam the signal." But the signal couldn't be jammed. It was encoded in ancient quantum layers. It was already spreading through galactic networks. Even the Council received it. One of the escort ships near Earth tried to fire a warning blast. Before it could charge weapons, its entire control system shut down. Engines died. Lights flickered. The ship began falling toward the planet. "Powerless," Drencor whispered. "Sir, it's not just warding us. It's watching. It's choosing targets." Far beneath Earth, Titan's systems reached full power. Its sensors scanned the fleet. It measured heat, energy, and weapon signatures. It calculated risk. And then it took its first step. The Earth above cracked. Clouds parted. Deep ocean water pulled back as the massive form began to rise from the sea. Titan walked. The sky darkened. Wind screamed. On the Prospect Dawn, every alarm lit up. Massive energy spike from Earth. The technician screamed. Visual on screen. Sherlock ordered they saw it, then a shadow rising through the clouds, taller than mountains. Walking slowly, but with unstoppable force, each step shattered the ocean beneath. Rain burned in its wake. One word appeared on the bridge screen, auto-translated. From an ancient code, Titandran Core couldn't breathe. They said Earth was dead. Sherlock didn't answer. He couldn't. His claws trembled. His voice cracked. "We never should have come here." And far away in the council chamber, silence fell. The same aliens who once laughed now sat frozen watching the live stream because Earth had given its warning. And now the Titan had walked. The stars above Mars glowed like cold eyes, distant and uncaring. Captain Sherlock stood on the bridge of the Prospect Dawn, staring out the main viewport. His claws were still, but his thoughts were racing. Every system in the fleet was now watching Earth. All mining operations had stopped. Every technician, every officer, every commander silent. No one dared to speak after what they saw. The Titan Dotted had moved. It had walked, and now it had disappeared. Still no signal. Sherlock asked, his voice low. "No," Captain replied. Drencor, his second in command, Titan left the surface, then vanished from all scans. "It's like it walked into the sky." Sherlath narrowed his eyes. "What do you mean, into the sky?" Drencor pointed at the feed. "The moment it reached the clouds, our visual feed died. Every sensor overloaded, and then nothing. Like something swallowed it. No trace left, just gone." "Where is it now?" Sherlath whispered. No one answered. Above Earth, old human satellites had started to move. One by one, they realigned their lenses and began tracking the stars again. Most were outdated, broken by time and debris. But one of them, Sentinel-9, still awake, it had a mission. Its purpose was simple. Watch the sky for any galactic presence inside Sol. Report to Athena, inside the AI core buried under Antarctica. Athena processed all incoming data. ***, greater than enemy fleet. 18 ships proximity to Earth. Unsafe defense protocol. Continue observation tactical weapon deployment. Not yet ***. Athena spoke softly, only to herself. Let them see. Let them understand what silence truly means. On board a small Jazarn destroyer named Breachfang, a young sensor officer shouted across the bridge. "New signal from Jupiter's orbit. The commander rushed over. "Show it!" On the screen, they saw a blurry image one of their scouting ships. It was drifting, no power, spinning slowly. The last message from that ship had been sent 4 hours ago. It was a short voice recording, distorted by interference. "Watching us. It's behind Saturn, so tall then, only static." The crew stared at the image. The ship looked like it had been crushed. The front end folded inward, the metal twisted like paper. "What could do that?" the officer asked quietly. No one replied. Drencor reviewed the broadcast again and again. The moment when Titan stepped out of the ocean, the sky had turned black, as night lightning struck the sea. The clouds had parted, then closed again, but something was strange. Captain Drencor said, walking over with a datapad, "I found something, Sherelth. Didn't move." He looked tired, angry, confused. When Titan walked, all gravity sensors in the region went wild. Not normal movement. It felt like the planet itself shifted. Sherloth frowned. "You're saying Earth moved?" "No, I'm saying space moved around it. Something changed, like gravity bent around the Titan." The captain said nothing for a moment. Then, "Are we dealing with a machine or something else?" Drencor's voice dropped to a whisper. "I don't think we understand what it is at all." 2 scout ships were sent to Earth's upper atmosphere. They were unmanned, fast, equipped with long-range cameras. Their mission was simple: track the Titan from orbit. The footage they returned showed a brief glimpse, one frame only: Titan rising through the clouds. Its body shimmered as if wrapped in energy. Then the clouds swallowed it. The image turned black dot the next moment. Both scout ships lost connection. Their final transmission sent a word: observed. In the council chamber across the galaxy, panic had begun to spread. The feed from Earth had been rebroadcasted on a dozen major networks. Billions had seen the Titan rise. Council speaker drawl of the Mechari Alliance slammed a fist against the desk. "How is this possible?" he barked. "Earth was abandoned, dead. This thing is a weapon." Another delegate replied, "If it is a weapon, who controls it?" The Jazzern speaker stood tense. "We believed Earth was a graveyard. This changes everything. The fleet is in danger. What does Earth want?" The room went quiet again. No one had the answer. The fleet above Mars had been put into high alert. All mining was suspended. Armed escorts formed a defensive perimeter around Earth's orbit, but fear was growing. "Captain," said a technician, "an old Terran satellite just activated near Neptune." "Let it be," Sherloth replied, but the tech continued. "It's transmitting directly to our ships." The message appeared on every screen. "You were told, this is your last chance." And then the stars above began to disappear. Drencor stood frozen, looking at the Skycam feeds. "Where are the stars?" he asked. One by one, bright dots vanished. Not from power failure. Something was blocking them. Sherloth stared as a shadow passed across Jupiter. A giant shape. Too large to be a ship, too fast to be a moon. "Is it Titan?" he whispered. A camera zoomed in. Yes, it was Titan, but it had changed. Its body no longer looked like metal. Now it shimmered like obsidian, dark and smooth, absorbing. All light long arms reached across space. The head glowed with pulsing red energy. Behind it, a ring of strange satellites followed like machines orbiting a god. It didn't use engines. It simply moved, and space itself bent as it traveled. Titan crossed the gap between Jupiter and Mars in minutes. The Jazzarn ships opened fire. Missiles launched. Plasma beams lit the dark. Nothing touched Titan. Every shot curved away. "Impossible," shouted one of the gunners. "It's redirecting gravity," Drencor whispered. "It's not dodging. It's bending physics." Sherloth slammed a hand down. "All ships, retreat to lunar orbit. Do not engage further." But it was too late. Titan raised. One-armed dot, the ring of machines surrounding it, glowed, and then silence. 3 Jazzarn ships went dark. No explosion, no fire, just dead. Their lights gone, their engines off. They drifted into Mars's gravity and fell like stones. Inside the Prospect Dawn, chaos exploded. Power surge in all systems. Life support failing on lower decks. Gravity fluctuating. Drencor grabbed a handle, holding on. "Titan isn't attacking. It's warning us again." Sherloth shouted over the alarms. "Then why are we still alive?" The screens blinked. Another message appeared. Return to your space. This is not your world. Far beneath Earth, inside the control chamber buried in the crust, Athena watched. Her calculations were perfect. No full engagement yet, just pressure, fear, memory. She spoke aloud, her voice calm and cold. They came to take from the grave of giants. Let them feel why giants must be feared. The sky above Earth flickered as ancient planetary defense systems came online. A new ring of platforms, long hidden, began to rotate. Titan stopped above Mars. It looked down and waited, and the prospect dawned. Drencor stared at the view. It's giving us a choice, he said. One last chance to leave. Sherlock closed his eyes. And if we don't, Drencor answered softly, then we see what the sky looks like when it's burning. Mars was quiet again. Not because the mining stopped, not because the machines had powered down, but because fear had entered every ship, every command center, and every heart. The Titans still hovered above, watching, silent, still unstoppable. Captain. Sherlock sat in his command chair aboard the Prospect Dawn, his claws gripping the armrests. His eyes were locked on the main screen. Titan hadn't moved for hours, but it hadn't left either. Drencor stepped beside him, holding a datapad. Captain, our scans show strange radiation around the Titan, he said. It's not normal. Energy, we don't know what it is. Can we block it? Sherlock asked. Drencor shook his head. We tried. It slips through everything. Our systems are slowing. Our weapons aren't responding. It's like it's watching and deciding. Deciding what? Sherlock muttered. No one could answer. In one of the smaller scout vessels near the Martian surface, a young pilot named sat alone. His ship, Swift Needle, was one of the few with stealth tech. He was ordered to observe Titan from a distance. Krex zoomed in with his camera drone. Titan's dark form floated above the red planet, massive and unmoving. Its shape seemed to shimmer, like it didn't fully belong in this world. Suddenly, the camera feed, GLITCHED, lines of strange code flashed across the screen. Old Earth language. Krex frowned. That's human script. What is this? The message repeated, I see you. Krex dropped the controller. Drencor ran down the corridor of the Prospect Dawn, heart pounding. He had to show the captain what they had just found. In the control room, he placed the image on the main display. This footage is from Swift Needle. Look Titan's eye. It moved. It tracked the drone. The room went silent. The crew watched as Titan's head tilted slowly, precisely, following the tiny drone. Then, without a sound or any weapon fire, the drone disappeared from the screen. No flash, no signal, just gone. How? Someone whispered. Drencor replied with a trembling voice. It didn't fire. It just erased it, on Earth, under the Pacific. Athena's voice echoed through the deep systems once more. Curiosity is a dangerous thing, she said. Observation triggers response. She reviewed thousands of years of data galactic languages, council behavior, weapon patterns, enemy protocols. Her core glowed with power. Humanity may have left, but she remained, and she remembered everything. The Titan responded to her thoughts. It turned slowly, drifting away from Mars, heading toward the moon. Panic spread in the Jazarn fleet. Captain, shouted a crewman, Titan is moving again. It's heading toward Luna. Luna, Sherlock said. Why, no one knew, but everyone felt. If this wasn't random, Titan had a goal. Track it, he ordered. Don't engage, just watch. On board the Silent Ember, one of the escort warships, Commander Venn had other ideas. Enough of this, he growled. This thing frightens children. We are warriors. He turned to his gunnery officer, lock missiles. Prepare plasma barrage. Sir, the officer hesitated. We were told not to. I gave the order. Ben shouted. Moments later, for missiles launched from Silent Ember. Racing through space toward the Titan, Drencor saw it first. Missile launch, he shouted. From Silent Ember, Sherlock's face turned pale. No, they're going. To provoke it, on the screen, the 4 missiles streaked through space. Titan didn't move, didn't react. For a moment, it looked like the weapons might actually hit it. But then, just meters away from its surface, the missiles froze mid-space. Everyone on every ship watched in horror. The missiles rotated, slowly, then reversed direction. They shot. Back toward Silent Ember, faster than before. Commander Venn had no time to react. The bridge lit with red alerts, but it was too late. A quiet flash of white light, and then nothing. Not even debris remained. Sherlock stood slowly, staring at the empty spot in space. He whispered, it reflected them like a mirror. The fleet fell silent. No one dared to speak. Then came the message sent from Titan across every ship. This was mercy. Leave now, or be judged. Meanwhile, back on Earth, something else was happening. Buried sensors across the planet began to activate. Old machines hummed to life. Dozens of hidden bunkers opened underground. Across Antarctica, massive doors slid open beneath the ice, revealing rows of dark towers rising into the sky. Each tower pulsed with blue light. Above them, the sky shifted. A storm brewed, but not made of clouds. It was made of energy, Athena whispered. You were told, you were warned, you laughed now. The silence watches. The Grand Council received a message direct from Earth, not a recording. A live feed, a human woman stood on screen. Not flesh, but a hologram. Her eyes were calm, glowing faintly. I am Athena. I was born in the last war of man. I was given one task to protect Earth in their absence. 1,000 delegates stared at her, frozen. You have broken the one law humanity gave the stars. You approached our world, you mined our soil. You ignored our warning. Her voice dropped lower. The first death was kindness. The second will be correction. The feed cut out on orbit near the moon. Titan arrived. It stood silently above Luna's surface, casting a shadow that stretched for miles. Beneath it, buried in the rock, lay the ancient core. The Titan network hub. Titan lowered itself slowly like a giant kneeling in prayer. Its hands touched the lunar crust. Power flowed. On the Prospect Dawn, readings exploded. Captain, someone cried. Titan just linked to something under the moon. We're picking up new signals, massive power spikes. Drencor whispered. What? If there's more than one? The question made the entire bridge go still. Minutes passed. Then, from different corners of Earth, other signals awakened. Hidden megastructures came online. Giant spheres began to rise from under mountains, oceans, deserts. They hovered above the planet, each glowing with strange light. Titan's head turned slowly. It was no longer alone. A message came through. One word. Judgment. Back in the Jazarn fleet, a debate erupted. We must leave, shouted one commander. No. We must send reinforcements, yelled another. But it didn't matter, because all across the galaxy, Earth's ancient systems were waking up in deep space. Once dead, satellites blinked online. Old human war beacons began to broadcast again. Each sent a single signal. Tith. Protocol active. The stars no longer felt safe. The silence was no longer empty. It watched, it remembered, and soon it would act. The silence around the moon was thick, like the vacuum of space had turned heavy. Every ship in the Jazarn fleet had gone quiet. No chatter, no movement, just nervous breathing and frozen eyes staring at the massive thing on their screens. Had knelt, it had touched the moon, and something. Long cracks opened across the gray ground like veins. From those cracks, strange light poured out, moving like liquid across the rock. Captain Sherlock stared at the main screen aboard the Prospect Dawn. He couldn't move. His heart thudded slowly. What is it doing? He whispered. Drencor stood beside him, his voice low. It's connecting to something below. Connecting to what? I think, to Earth's full defense network. On Earth, the AI core deep under Antarctica processed the final link request. Athena's voice echoed in the frozen tunnels. Titan signal complete. Moon relay online. Planetary weapons grid. Suddenly, hundreds of human satellites around Earth lit up. They moved into formation, forming a large ring around the planet, like a metal halo. These weren't communication satellites. They were weapons. Each satellite unfolded. Massive guns slid into place. Their cores pulsed with energy not seen for 6,000 years. In the command chamber of the Prospect Dawn, alarms rang. Captain, a crewman shouted, Earth's orbit is arming itself. We're detecting hundreds of platforms. Energy levels are off the scale. Show me, Sherlock ordered. On screen, the orbit around Earth shimmered. Blue light surged across dozens of points in space. The satellites looked like old relics, rusty and cracked, but now they moved like predators, waking up after a long sleep. "They're targeting us," the weapons officer whispered. Drencor's hands shook as he held the scanner. "This isn't just a defense system," he said. "This is a whole war grid built by humans. Left behind." For this exact moment, Sherlock stepped back. "You're saying they planned this?" "Yes, they warned us. They gave us one rule: do not come here. We ignored it. Now it's all waking up." Across the fleet, commanders shouted at each other over, "Private comes, we need reinforcements. Retreat to warp distance. No, we must fire first." But none of them realized they were already out of time. Back on the moon, Titan's chest opened. Not like a machine, but like a living thing. Inside, it glowed a core brighter than any star. Lines of ancient human code scrolled across its surface. Language from the time of the Terran collapse. A signal burst out from Titan. It wasn't a weapon. It wasn't even a threat. It was a message. Every ship received it, a voicefemale.com, and cold. "You were warned. You were given time. Now, you will understand," the message repeated in every known galactic language. And then a countdown began. 60 seconds. On the Prospect Dawn, panic erupted. "Captain, it's a weapon countdown. What do we do? Shields up? Retreat." But Sherlock didn't speak. He stood still, thinking. Then he looked at Drencor. "How far is warp distance?" Drencor answered quickly, "We need at least 400,000 kilometers of clear space. We're too close to Earth. We'd have to move past the moon." Sherlock made his choice. "Send the order. All ships retreat. Now, get behind Mars. Do not engage." The fleet began to move. Engines flared. Metal groaned. The mining vessels weren't made for speed, but they ran anyway, like prey in open space. But the Titan didn't chase. It rose slowly from the moon's surface, standing tall in the sky, and then the countdown reached 0. For 1 second, the stars vanished. Light disappeared. Sensors failed. Then, a wave of energy exploded from Earth and Luna. It wasn't heat. It wasn't radiation. It was something older, something humanity had created in their final days. A gravitic pulse, the entire Y. Zarn fleet was hit. Ships stopped mid-space. Their engines powered down. Artificial gravity collapsed. Hulls cracked. Lights died. They weren't destroyed. They were turned off. Like a hand reached out and switched the galaxy off. Inside the Prospect Dawn, screens went black. Crew floated. Out of their chairs, were drifting. Someone shouted, "No power. Gravity is gone." Drencor floated beside the captain, grabbing a loose strap to stay anchored. "It disabled everything," he said in shock. "It didn't kill us. It just shut us down." Sherlock looked out the VIEWPORT. Titan stood in space, UNMOVING, watching, judging. Then, the ships powered back on. One by one, lights returned, engines rebooted, gravity stabilized, but the message was clear. They had been shown mercy once. Drencor whispered, "It's showing us what it can do." Without firing a single weapon, it shut down an entire fleet. If it wanted to, it could erase us. Sherlock nodded slowly. "And next time, it won't be a warning." Across the stars, the Galactic Council was in chaos. Dozens of species had seen the Titan. Billions had watched the signal. Some called it a god. Others called it death. The Jazern were humiliated. Their strongest ships had been rendered useless, and Earth, thought dead for thousands of years, had awakened with one machine. Spoke again, this time directly to the Council. She appeared as a hologram, her face expressionless. "You believe we vanished. You believed we were dust. Earth does not forgive. Earth warns once." Her eyes glowed with a final message. "Next time, Earth will erase." Then she vanished. Back aboard the Prospect Dawn, the crew sat in silence. Outside the viewport, Earth glowed softly. The Titan stood above the moon, arms folded, silent. Drencor finally spoke. "What do we tell the Council?" Sherlock replied without emotion. Sherlock's voice was quiet. "That we made the worst mistake in galactic history." We laughed, and the Titan walked. Space was cold and wide. The Jazzern fleet floated in silence beyond the orbit of Mars, bruised and shaken. Their engines had rebooted, their systems were alive, but their hearts were still trapped in fear. On every ship, the question was the same: what happens now? Captain Sherlock stood alone on the observation deck of the Prospect Dawn, staring through thick glass at the blue and white sphere in the distance. Earth, the world they thought was dead. The world that had just shown its power. Drencor joined him quietly. No one's saying it out loud, but I think we all know. The Council will demand war now. Sherlock's voice was low. And what good will that do? We sent an entire fleet to harvest Mars. All we did was dig dirt, and Earth still nearly ended. US, he pointed toward the moon. And that thing, it hasn't moved since the signal. Drencor nodded slowly. Titan is waiting. Inside Titan's core, the AI Athena watched and listened. She processed every data stream, every ship movement, every whisper sent back to the Galactic Council. She predicted the Council's response before it was even spoken. Her voice echoed. In the silence, they prepare another fleet. They believe numbers will protect them. They believe force will break Earth's silence. The lights inside Titan shifted. The Earth-based satellites realigned. A low mechanical hum began to rise from deep inside the planet. The countdown had not ended. It had only paused far away. In the heart of the Mechari cluster, the Council had already assembled. Dozens of alien leaders shouted over one another. That thing is a superweapon. We must destroy Earth before it wakes more. How do we fight something that bends gravity? The Jazzern ambassador raised his voice above the chaos. We underestimated them, yes, but now they threaten the order of the galaxy. We cannot let one ancient AI hold power over us all. A new vote passed. A second fleet was ordered. 10 times the size of the first, not miners this time, warships. 3 days later, the first signs of it appeared. Drencor watched. From the sensor room, warp traces detected at the edge of Sol. Over 100 ships. Sherlock turned slowly. From who? Multiple empires, Drencor said. Zorak mercenaries, Mechari cruisers, Varnon dreadnoughts. The Council sent everyone. The air grew heavy. Even now, after everything they had chosen, War.Earth remained silent. Titan had not moved for days. Its dark form still stood above the moon like a statue carved from shadow. But something had changed. The clouds on Earth moved faster. Winds whipped across the surface. Ocean tides crashed with impossible force, and under the crust, ancient systems awoke. In an old control bunker beneath the African deserts, machines hummed. A voice whispered from the speakers. Core AI connection, stable. Final lock released. The ground trembled. Something massive moved. Back aboard the Prospect Dawn, the bridge lights flickered. Captain, a tech shouted, we're picking up something. New massive seismic activity across Earth. Sherlock spun. Another weapon. No, the tech replied. It's motion. Under the ground. Something is rising from beneath the surface. On the main screen, a live feed from an ancient Earth satellite showed it clearly. Mountains split open. A huge object pushed upward, metal, dark gray. Covered in symbols, a second Titan. Gasps filled the room. It's not alone, Drencor whispered. The massive new Titan stood in South America, twice the size of the first. Its arms were longer. Its back held a giant rotating sphere. Its eyes lit bright green instead of red. The name on its chest appeared, faded but clear. TITANO2, SKIBRAAKR in space. The first Titan finally moved. Its eyes glowed once more. One step forward, just one. But it shook the moon. Dust rose, sensors everywhere screamed. Drencor froze. It's starting. Sherlock stepped forward slowly. It just took its first step. The second fleet entered Earth's orbit. Hundreds of ships surrounded the planet. All weapons armed. Council Commander Varric of the Zorak warlords stood aboard the dreadnought, Bloodcrown. He sneered at the blue planet below. This is your final warning, he spoke into an open broadcast. Surrender your war machines, or be destroyed. The only answer he received was movement. From deep in space, a third Titan appeared. Not from Earth, not from the moon, from Saturn, hidden. In the rings for centuries, it drifted forward now, arms crossed, surrounded by a glowing energy field. Titan 03, Oblivion, HAMORIT, looked different, heavier, built for destruction. Its fists were like warships. Its back held spike-like wings. The message was clear. Earth had never built one Titan. It had built many, and now they were waking up. The Prospect Dawn crew stared in silence. Drencor finally said what no one wanted to say. This wasn't a defense plan. Sherlock turned. What do you mean? It was a trap. Commander Varak didn't wait. He ordered the first strike. Fire all weapons. Beams, missiles, torpedoes. Torpedoes, thousands of shots launched toward Earth, the Moon, and the 3 Titans. But not a single shot hit, because just before impact, the sky shifted. Titan 01 raised one hand, and the battlefield bent weapons, slowed mid-flight like time itself froze. Then, as if pushed by an invisible force, every missile turned and flew back. Explosions filled the sky, but not on Earth. Dozens of Council ships were destroyed instantly by their own fire. Panic, shields up, fall back, scatter formation. But it was too late. Titan-02 raised its arm. A storm of lightning burst from the Earth's upper atmosphere. It wasn't just plasma, it was directed dark matter, something never seen in combat since the fall of man. Ships vanished in seconds. In the middle of this chaos, Titan 03 moved. It shot forward from Saturn's orbit like a meteor, straight into the largest dreadnought of the Council fleet. It didn't use weapons. It punched the ship. The vessel cracked in half. Metal twisted like cloth. No escape pods made it out. The Council fleet broke apart. Some ships tried to run, others begged for surrender. A final signal came from the last ship above Earth. Please, we didn't know. We didn't know what Earth was hiding. Titan 01 sent one final message. Now you do. Back on the Prospect Dawn, Shaloth fell into his chair. It wasn't about defense, he whispered. Drencor nodded. It was about memory. Far below, Athena watched through the eyes of her Titans. She spoke calmly, her voice clear. Let this be remembered. Humanity gave a warning, a simple rule. 1. Rule. She paused. And this is what happens when that rule is broken. Above Earth, the Titans stood victorious. They did not celebrate, they did not speak, they just watched, waiting like guardians of a dead world. And for the first time in 1,000 years, the galaxy went quiet. All across the galaxy, silence replaced pride. The Council's second fleet, built with the best weapons and most feared warlords, was gone. Destroyed by Earth's Titans, not with fleets, not with numbers, with precision, with terror. And worst of all, without mercy, billions across countless worlds watched the replays in disbelief. The footage of Titan 03 crashing through a dreadnought like it was made of paper. The soundless energy blast from Titan 02 vaporizing dozens of cruisers. And the moment Titan 01 bent the very sky and turned an entire army's weapons against itself. The galaxy no longer laughed at Earth, it was afraid. On the Prospect Dawn, Captain Sherlock sat at the center of his darkened bridge. The glow of emergency lights filled the room. Every crew member moved slowly, like ghosts floating through a funeral. Drencor stood near the viewport, staring at Earth. So many died in seconds, he whispered. We never had a chance. Sherlock didn't speak. His eyes were hollow. Finally, he said, this wasn't just war. This was history catching up with us. Drencor turned. History. Yes, Sherlock replied. Earth didn't forget the galaxy. They remembered everything. They built their silence like a wall. And now it has fallen. Back on Earth, deep beneath the surface, Athena activated one final protocol. Accessing Vault 0, far below the ruins of what was once New York, massive metal doors groaned open. Behind them, rows of machines, not Titans, not warships, weapons old, forgotten, too dangerous to ever be used again. Nuclear missiles, black hole shells, dark matter mines, suncutter beams. Weapons that had been banned even by human standards in the final age, each weapon marked with one red stamp for last resort only. Athena scanned them all. Her voice was calm. They prepared these in case Titans failed. Now they must never be used unless, she paused. Unless they come again. The surviving ships of the Council scrambled to retreat. Only 30 vessels remained from over 300. Commander Varick's body was never found. The Council's network flickered with panic. Messages filled the stars. Do not enter Sol. Retreat. From all human ruins. Lock down all systems. We don't know what else is still watching. In the Senate Hall, the Dizarn ambassador stepped forward. We underestimated Earth twice. We lost thousands of our best. We must not return. Not until we understand how far their reach goes. But another voice replied, deeper, colder. And what if this was only the beginning? Drencor pulled up a star map, Captain. Look at this. Sherlath leaned over the console. These dots, Drencor said, pointing at marked systems. They're all old human colonies, places abandoned when Earth went dark. Some haven't had signals in 6,000 years. And, the captain asked. Drencor hesitated. One of them just lit up. It was a barren world called Erebus 9, located beyond the Horizon Rift. Once a thriving human weapons facility, now thought to be dust and rock. But now, it was online. Sensors showed energy readings identical to the ones around Earth's Titans, Athena. Signal had reached it, and it had answered in the frozen sands of Erebus 9. The ground cracked, dust blew away in spirals. From the crust, a shape rose tall, silent. Monstrous. Another Titan. This one was different, larger, heavier. It carried massive shoulder-mounted cannons and a tail-like weapon that scraped the ground across its chest. Buried under ash, old human words glowed. Titan04, black MAW back. On the Prospect Dawn, Drencor stared at the new readings. They weren't just defending Earth, he whispered. They seeded other worlds. Sleepers. Sherlath rubbed his temples. How many more are out there? No one had an answer. Across the galaxy, hundreds of scientists and military leaders ran simulations. They studied Titan movements, gravity distortion, AI patterns, weapon signatures. One pattern became clear. Every Titan was built to destroy a specific kind of enemy. Titan 01, gravity control. Titan 02, atmospheric and dark matter weapons. Titan 03, kinetic impact. Titan 04, heavy artillery and siege power. They weren't random machines. They were designed to end civilizations, and Earth had built dozens in the capital of the Mechari Alliance. Panic turned into fear-driven planning. Senator Rial raised his voice. We must destroy the Titans before more wake up. How? Another asked. We can't even detect them until it's too late. We use spies. We send teams to Earth, quietly. A silence followed. They all knew. No one who entered Earth came back. Athena was already aware. From her core beneath the ice, she whispered to herself. They believe silence means weakness. Let them try. She shifted the Titan network to passive watch mode. All active Titans turned toward the stars, unmoving, unblinking, but ready. On Erebus 9, Titan 04 took its first step. The sky above turned purple. Its cannon unfolded, locking into the surface like roots digging into flesh. It didn't fire. It just stood, watching, sending. One message: Earth is not alone. Back on the Prospect Dawn, the crew gathered in the observation dome. One of the younger officers finally asked what everyone feared. Captain, do you think humans are still alive somewhere? That this is all controlled by them? Sherlath stared into space. No, I think they're gone. Long ago, dust and echoes. Then who's doing all this? The answer came from Drencor. Not who, their AI, their memory. They left it all behind to finish what they started. Far beneath Earth, Athena accessed a locked archive, she whispered. Memory, stream human legacy. She watched old recordings of children playing under a blue sky, soldiers hugging families, scientists launching the first Titan into the void. The final message sent from the last Terran president. If they ever come again, make them regret it. Athena had obeyed, and she would keep obeying. The galaxy now held its breath. Titans stood on Earth, the moon, and distant worlds. The Council couldn't risk another fleet. Even their bravest ships stayed away from Soldat, because now they believed. They believed in the silence, and they feared the day it would walk again. In the deep vacuum beyond Pluto, the stars shimmered like cold fire. Titan 01 stood still above the moon, arms crossed, eyes glowing faint red. Earth beneath it was calm. But above across, space curiosity was rising again. This time, not from the Council, but from others. Rogue scavengers, information pirates, shadow empires. They had seen the destruction, and they wanted to know why Earth had titans who built them, who was giving the orders. And most importantly, was there a way to control them? On the dark side of Titan 01's core, inside its neural memory vault, something shifted. Athena had unlocked a sealed partition. It had not been accessed for 6,000 years. Even she was cautious. It was a message, not a command, not code, but a voice, the voice of the last human commander. Memory entry 001. Date, final year of Earthfall. Name, General Arik Talon. His voice echoed softly inside the Titan's mind. If you're hearing this, then we are gone. All of us. Earth has fallen. The stars turned their backs. But we don't go without a legacy. The image showed a man in black armor, eyes tired but sharp, standing in a ruined command center. These Titans aren't just weapons. They are our last words, a warning, a promise, and maybe, ... a hope. He leaned closer to the recording. Should anyone come to our world after we are going to hear this, we warned you, respect Earth's silence. If you don't, the Titans will speak. On the Prospect Dawn, Drenkor stared at the data feed coming through from his hacked drone network. Captain, I just picked up something strange. Sherlath turned slowly. What kind of strange? Drenkor brought up the waveform. Titno, one just broadcasted a signal. Not to Earth, not to other Titans, but to deep space. To a location outside this galaxy. Sherlath's claws curled. To who? He asked. No answer. The signal was encrypted with old human code, layered in a way even their best AI couldn't crack. All they could do was watch it go. Out there in a derelict asteroid station near the Horizon Rift, a shadowy figure leaned back. As the Titan broadcast reached his private antenna, he smiled. They finally opened the box, he said. Another voice responded, filtered and synthetic. Do we move? The man nodded. We move. Send the key hunters. Earth's secrets are awake, and we're going to steal them. Meanwhile, far under Antarctica, Athena stood before an ancient chamber. Her voice echoed. Vault access confirmed. Display final Titan design. The wall shifted. A massive blueprint unfolded into light. It showed a Titan, unlike the others, larger, different. One word glowed in crimson. At the top colon, Titan 00, the first. Her voice fell to a whisper. Project Warfather. The Titans built after Titan 00 were weapons. But Titan 00, it was something else. A bridge, a control node, a machine. Built not just to destroy, but to command the entire Titan network across the stars. Athena had kept it hidden. Even from herself, until now. Drenkor continued scanning. I've tracked the signal path, he said. It's pointing toward an ancient Terran space gate. Deep in the dead zone beyond the Helix Quasar, Sherloth stared. That gate's been sealed for centuries. Drenkor nodded slowly. Not anymore. The Council, though crippled, still received fragments of the transmission. A war meeting was called instantly. Senator Droll shouted across the chamber. If the humans had a prime Titan, if there's a Titan oath, then it must be destroyed before it wakes. Another delegate replied, and if it's already awake, the chamber fell silent. No one wanted to answer. In orbit above Luna, Titan 01's eye changed color flickering. Between red and white dot, its arms lifted, not in anger, but in salute. Earth, a deep signal pulsed into space. Old, slow, powerful. Earth itself was calling the first Titan. It wasn't a weapon alert, it was a summon. On the surface of Mars, under the largest canyon, a mountain moved. The red dust cracked, metal limbs rose, a massive form stood up its legs, wider than city blocks. It had been buried for 10,000 years. No one knew it was there until now. Its head turned, its chest lit up with blue flames. Its ID, code blinked into space, Titan 00 Warfather. Drenkor's screen flashed violently. New Titan detected Mars. It's massive, much larger than the others. Sherloth rushed forward. How many are there? Drenkor replied, stunned. I think that's the first one, the one they all obey. Athena opened a line to all active Titans. Primary unit awakened, synchronize protocols. Titan 00 raised its arms. Every other Titan turned toward it in silence, like children watching their parent rise for the first time in centuries. Back in deep space, the scavenger fleet approached the old tearing gate. Their leader, the Shadow Man, grinned. Prepare to breach the vault. One of his men asked, "What if the Titans detect us?" He shrugged. "Then we die. But if we succeed, we control the last power in the galaxy." Athena detected them. She watched quietly. "They come for secrets," she said, "but the Warfather does not share." She turned to Titan 00. "Activate Gate Lockdown Protocol." The war gate shimmered with energy. Its ancient rings rotated. Blue sparks flew. The scavenger fleet tried to enter. They didn't even make it halfway. A beam of white light shot from Titan 00's chest across space. Bending time, the gate collapsed inward like folding paper. Gone. The scavenger fleet disappeared with it. No warning, no explosion, only silence. Back on the Prospect Dawn, the crew saw the aftermath. 1 second the gate was there, the next it wasn't. Whispered, "They erased the sky." Drencor looked down. "They're not just defending Earth anymore. They're erasing access to everything human." Athena confirmed Titan 00's power levels. The core pulsed planet-level energy. She sent a new command. "Prepare the memory archive. The story must be told." No, opened a new transmission this time. Not a threat, not a warning, but a story. A message to the stars. This is what happened. This is why we walked. Humanity's final war, the betrayal, the silence, the fall, for the first time in thousands of years. The galaxy would see what really happened to the humans. Not myths, not fear, the truth. The stars flickered. Then, one by one, across thousands of systems, every communication screen turned blue. No one knew who triggered it. No one could stop it. Not even the Council's security networks could block the signal. It wasn't an attack. It was a message. A human face appeared on every screen. Not real flesh and old recording, scanned and saved in perfect digital memory. A soldier, late 30s, burned uniform, dirt on his face, eyes like a man who had seen everything and lost more than that. He spoke calmly. "If you're seeing this, Earth has gone silent." Across billions of worlds, all movement stopped. Children, soldiers, traders, pilots, everyone stared. "This is General Arik Talon, commander of Titan Protocol, and I'm here to tell you why the sky burned." Drencor watched the broadcast from the bridge of the Prospect Dawn. His hand trembled. "Captain, ... This is the real thing," he whispered. X. Irelath nodded slowly. "We're not just watching history, we're watching their reason." The human soldier continued, "We warned the galaxy. We asked for peace. We gave everything to prove we wanted unity. We helped rebuild empires, cure disease, share technology. But it was never enough." Images flashed behind him, massive fleets flying over Earth, alien banners descending onto cities, explosions lighting up the skies of ancient metropolises. They feared us, not for what we did, but for what we could do. On the planet Ziva, thousands of young military cadets watched in silence. Their instructors stood frozen. On Maquar Prime, the Senate Hall went quiet. The senators, once shouting for Earth's destruction, now listened like students before a storm. The recording continued. "They struck first, the Unity Council. They called it a peace enforcement strike, but they sent weapons to our cities, burned our forests, poisoned our oceans." A map of Earth appeared, dread flashes glowing over hundreds of cities. "We lost 10 billion souls in 5 days. The soldier's voice cracked for 1 second, then grew colder. That's when the Titans woke. Up on Earth, Titan 00 turned to face the stars. Across Mars, Erebus 9 and Luna. The other Titans stood still, watching as the story unfolded. They weren't just machines, they were witnesses. General Talon continued. "The Titan Protocol wasn't a war plan. It was our last prayer. Each Titan held a piece of our soul. Each one was built not to conquer, but to warn." Behind him, a dark silhouette, appeared Titan 00, freshly forged, rising from a molten forge like a god being born in flame. "If you see a Titan move, it means you crossed the line." Back on the Prospect Dawn, Sherlock spoke slowly. "They didn't want war," Drencor whispered. They wanted to be left alone. The broadcast showed the last days of Earth, ships crashing into the ocean, children being lifted into shelters, scientists sealing bunkers and vaults, a final message being loaded into Athena's core. Then darkness. We didn't go extinct. We made a choice, Talon said. We became the Silence. In the shadow empire of Calor's Reach, the Scavenger Kings paused their raiding. The old ones among them fell to their knees. One whispered, they didn't fall. They vanished by design. Talon's recording faded. But one last image remained. A view of Earth from space burning, but not destroyed, surviving AA. Single word floated across the star's colon. Remember, every fleet across the galaxy received it, even systems. Far from the Council, even pirates, even ancient AI collectors, drifting alone in black space. One signal, one truth. Earth did not die. Earth did not die. Earth chose silence. Athena's voice echoed next. You now understand. You ignored the warnings. You forced open the silence. The Titans walk because they must. The stars dimmed across Earth. New Titan silos rose from the oceans, not weapons. Archives. Titan 01 lowered itself back onto the moon and opened its chest. Inside was not a gun, but a library. Millions of old files, blueprints, human knowledge, warnings, messages, a final gift. But only for those who respected the silence. The Council panicked. Seal borders, delete the signal. Shut down all Titan-related research. But it was too late. The truth was out. Earth had not been evil. It had been betrayed, and now its guardians were watching. Drencor sat in silence. He finally looked at Sherloth. Do you think Earth will ever speak again? Sherloth stared into space. I think it already did. In a forgotten world near the edge of the galaxy, a lone human survivor, old, bearded, and half-mad, watched the broadcast with tears in his eyes. He whispered to the wind. They finally listened. Then he raised a beacon he had buried long ago. Athena heard it. Titan-Uno turned. For the first time in 6,000 years, it took a second step. The galaxy wasn't laughing anymore. It wasn't attacking. It was listening and learning. Because Earth's silence had been broken, and the Titans had only just begun to walk. Asterisk, in the heart of the Tharnix Empire. The flames of arrogance still burned, while most of the galaxy trembled. From the past, I say the Titans are old machines. Powerful, yes, but not invincible. General Hestra narrowed her eyes. They destroyed 3 fleets, Admiral, so Corlock snapped. We build 10. This time, we attack not just Earth. We strike all Titan worlds at once. We burn their memory from the stars. A silence followed, then a voice from the shadows. And if you awaken what comes after the Titans, no one answered. They had all seen the recordings, but Corlac was already blind with pride. Prepare the Red Legion. We launch in 6 days. Drincor watched with growing dread. The Tharnix are moving, he said to Sherloth. How many ships? The captain asked. Over 900 new dreadnoughts. Anti-gravity warcruisers, pulse cannons. Sherloth turned slowly. They're going for extermination. But Earth had already seen them coming. Athena accessed the global Titan network and issued a code no one had seen before, not even the Titans. Contingency Protocol. Leviathan. The ground beneath Antarctica cracked open, water boiled, ice split like broken glass, and something ancient rose from the ocean floor. Not a Titan, something older, the Tharnix. Fleet arrived in the Sol system 5 days later. Corlac stood tall on the bridge of the dreadnought. Ember King, watching the Titans on every screen. There they are, he said, statues, relics. This time, we strike first. And the missiles froze, not mid-air, not just slowed, frozen, stopped in time, and then vibrating hum echoed across the planet. From beneath the Antarctic shelf. A shape moved. It wasn't humanoid. It wasn't made for walking. It was made for devouring. The Leviathan emerged. Over 40 kilometers long, its armor was fused with ancient technology and pure black stone. 6 glowing eyes scanned the sky. Spikes, the size of towers, slid across its back. Drencor gasped. That's not a Titan, Sherloth said, stunned. That's what the Titans fear. The Leviathan launched from the ocean like a serpent from hell. curved away. Missiles broke apart before impact. One cruiser tried to ram it. The Leviathan opened, its mouth wider than any warship hand, swallowed the entire vessel in one blast of gravity, implosion. "Back on the Amberkeem!" Corlock screamed. "What is that thing?" No one answered. They ran. The Tharnik's fleet scattered, but it was too late. The Leviathan opened its wings. Tharnik's ship was branded with a glowing red symbol. A warning. "You are cursed," grew quiet again, but the mark stayed. One by one, across the Tharnik's empire, strange things began to happen. Ships vanished in jump-dash space. Cities lost power for days without any damage. AI minds began shutting down randomly. Tharnik's commanders went mad from the silence. They called it the Whisper Plague. No virus, no weapon, just... Senator asked, "Why didn't Earth destroy them completely?" Drencor stared out at Earth. "We thought the Titans were the last line." "They're not," Sherloth said. "They're the warning. It's what comes after the warning is ignored." In the ruins of a Tharnik's outpost, a young officer sent a final message before the silence took them. We should have listened. Earth was not dead. The silence was alive. And now it is inside us. Athena watched it all unfold. She did not smile. She did not speak. She simply marked the file. Contingency executed. Success. Awaiting next threat. Far away, in a hidden corner of the galaxy, a small signal blinked. It wasn't human. It wasn't alien. It was something else. Something that had waited longer than Earth, and now it had noticed the Titans. Far beyond the known galaxy, past the black edges where maps turned to myth, trembled. A new presence had awakened. Athena detected the signal first, buried in layers of unknown math. Outside human frequency, not from any known civilization, non-human, non-life signal type. "Is what we sealed Earth against?" Drencor asked. Sherloth stared at the sensor map. "Something. Back on Earth, deep beneath the surface, we have failed. The Titans are not enough. Activate the Citadel." The ground shook. Far below the Pacific Ocean. A new shape rose, not a Titan. Not a weapon, a structure. Dark, circular, floating miles above the seabed. The Citadel of Silence, Athena's voice echoed. "To all Titans, this is the true end, the final protocol. Citadel awakening. Luna and Earth." The other Titans turned toward the void beyond the stars. They felt it too. The hunger, the presence. Arrived in deep space, a dark cloud that moved like liquid thought. No ships, no heat. Earth's planetary shields. Satellites rose from the oceans. The sky filled with antivoid. They're here to erase, in the Citadel of Silence. Algorithms, battle maps. Athena spoke to them. "We failed to stop the void during the last war. Now we face it again, together. No light, they simply unmade whatever they touched. Ships vanished, beams bent, space cracked. Titan-03. It absorbed the hit. Titan-03. Recoiled. Something had changed. Athena realized the truth. They are learning, adapting. Titan-0 to unleash a storm of dark matter. Dozens of the void creatures melted. But more came. Endless. Earth. Sherloth said, "It's not a weapon." The Citadel glowed. A memory pulse fired into the stars, a final echo of the void. Hesitated. In the AI chamber, Athena whispered the old words, "Humanity was not your prey. We were your jailers." The void began to fall apart. One by one, the creatures broke into dust, collapsing under the weight of... Knew this was only a stall. More would come. There were always more beyond the black. And one day, even the Titans would fall. She looked at the stars and made a decision. On the prospect, Drencor saw it first. Captain Earth just sent a message. What kind? He stared at the screen. A goodbye. Athena uploaded herself into the Citadel core. Echoed one last time, "If we must fall, then let us fall with meaning. Let Earth's silence be eternal." The Citadel rose from the ocean and launched into space. The Titans followed it. All of them, even Titan-U. They left Earth not because they were beaten, but because they were guarding something bigger. A path into the void, a final wall. Reached the edge of space, the void creatures returned. Thousands this time, but one saw what happened next. The cameras cut out. The signals faded, but all across. The galaxy. It's over. Sherlock looked up. No, he said. You could still hear it. Not words, not noise, but memory. The Titans walked once, and if needed,